Hello my friends, what's up and welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video, which is something I have never done before on my channel, and it is a full face of drugstore makeup. If you know me well enough by now, which many of you do, I am a high-end, I prefer high-end makeup, and drugstore is typically hit or miss for me, but here lately there's been such good stuff, and honestly over the past of maybe like the course of the last year or two, I've really accumulated a lot of great drugstore makeup. So I'm at a point now where I'm like, I could do a full face of drugstore makeup and actually love it. So I have a lot to play with today. It's going to be voiceover style. My brows are already done, but I did want to show you what I used. As usual, I will link everything down below. I will list everything down below so that you know what I used, because I don't remember exactly what this is called, but it's the little e.l.f. Brow pomade slash liner, because you can use this as liner as well. I'll be using the Putty eye primer, the Physicians Formula butter bronzer, CoverGirl clean fresh powder. You guys, you know that I was not going to pass these up. So, and this is actually what I was wearing in my TJ Maxx Marshalls haul that a lot of y'all commented on. I think the most excited though, I am so stoked to finally use a putty blush because they're so hard to get your hands on. Anyways, just a whole lot of stuff. The Maybelline Dream Urban Cover is one of my top drugstore foundations. Anyways, so basically I'll show you as we go. We're just gonna have fun putting on some drugstore makeup, get the same results as I would with a high-end look, and let's go ahead and get started. Okay guys, so I didn't have a drugstore primer, so we're gonna go straight in with foundation. And the worst thing is a squeezy tube and you don't even squeeze it on your face. So I was so happy that this didn't end up on my sweater and it really just ended up on my arm. But you can only imagine the way my heart just dropped when I saw that the foundation didn't fall on my face. So just gonna go in with the Maybelline Dream Urban Cover foundation. Now, mine is in the shade 120 Classic Ivory, but I've had this for about a year and I seriously think it has oxidized in the tube because it's a little bit deeper than it used to be, and I noticed that after I applied it. I'm gonna go in with the e.l.f. duo-ended complexion brush. I love it so much. This brush really does do a great job. It took me like a time or two to really be like, okay, is this as good? And I have just come to the conclusion that I absolutely love it. It's so convenient also because it's got the little concealer end too. So for concealer, we're going to go ahead and go in with the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I use mine in the shade Light Sand. I don't know that this is my absolute favorite concealer. I'm going to be completely honest and tell you that my favorite concealers are on the high-end side of things, but that's okay. There's some really great concealers out there on the drugstore side. It's just that I really haven't come across yet that one that I can't seem to live without, and I've tried the CoverGirl ones, I've tried the Maybelline ones. So if you've got recommendations for really great drugstore concealers, would you let me know in the comments section below? I would love to be able to try a few more. See if I can really hit the jackpot on that drugstore concealer. So see, I'm using the concealer side of this brush and it just works so nicely. It's really convenient having it all in one place. And it's funny because our tastes change, and I did not used to be a fan of dual-ended brushes, really did not. And now I'm like, ooh, I want to get all the dual-ended brushes. I don't go in with a ton of concealer because if I do, it ends up looking cakey. That's why I only place it on the innermost part of my under eye where it's like the deepest. Because if not, then it just really starts gunking up my pores. So now, see, look how convenient, using the foundation side and just blending the concealer and foundation together. Again, so it just doesn't clog up my pores and look super cakey and gross. I'm going to go in with pretty much the only setting powder I have, and you can also use this one for foundation, but it's the CoverGirl Clean Fresh in the shade 140 Light Pale. This one's actually pretty perfect for me. and it's decent for setting under eyes and for using it as a setting powder. Again, you can pretty much also use this one as just regular powder foundation. It's not my first choice for setting like under the eyes, but now I'm using obviously a larger buffing brush and I'm gonna just set all over the face. But I have heard, which one is it? Is it the Maybelline Fit Me that everyone seems to love? That is next on my list to pick up. See if I like it, but I've tried my share of drugstore powders and just like the concealers, haven't really found one that hits that mark for me. So let's move on to bronzer, and I'm using the, as you can tell, Butter Bronzer by Physicians Formula. I love this so much. I love the smell, I love the neutral tone, I love the ease of putting it on. I will say I used just such a wrong brush today. This is, now granted, some of my brushes I'm using today are high-end. I don't have, you know, all drugstore when it comes to like foundation and bronzer brushes, stuff like that. But I grabbed, instead of grabbing the Milk Makeup cream stick brush, I grabbed the foundation brush. So my bronzer is gonna look a little bit sharp today. And so it's the brush, quite frankly. But the bronzer itself, absolutely stunning. I think I am going to want to pick up the matte version of this, which is the newer one, just because I love this one so much. So in using that exact same brush, I'm just going to do the nose a little bit just so that I can just get everything nice and even. But again, not the best brush for this, so don't do what I did and make this mistake, because if so, your bronzer is going to look a little on the heavy side. Okay, so let's go in with powder bronzer. Again, I probably did not need this because my foundation is oxidized, it's probably just a little bit older. Went heavy on the cream bronzer because of the brush I used, and now I'm going in with powder bronzer. A lot of times I don't even set my cream bronzer with powder. I like the natural glow that the cream gives, but I was really wanting to use quite a few of my drugstore products. So this is, I mean, obviously you could already tell, the Revlon Skin Lights. It's in the shade 115 Sunkissed Beam. It is the deeper of the two shades. Again, to pick up the lighter one of these. This is such a great formula. It just makes the skin look so healthy, glowy. It's got a little bit of a sheen, not too much, but I think I would absolutely jive with the lighter shade of this. So this is something I am so excited to try. This is the e.l.f. Putty Blush, and this one's in the shade Turks and Caicos. This was the perfect shade for me. I'm using my Real Techniques cream blush brush. Now I did find that that brush is a little bit too big for this blush. The opening of the blush is just, it could use a smaller brush, which I had a free shipping coupon from Ulta, so I went ahead and used it for the actual e.l.f. Putty Blush Brush. That's a mouthful, try to say that fast 5 times. But hopefully that'll work a little bit better. I think I really like the blush, but sometimes your application, the tools you use, aka your brushes, will make all the difference in the world. So if there's something you're not crazy about, then try it with a different brush. So I debated on which highlighter I was going to use, whether it be the e.l.f. or the Wet n Wild, but opted for the Wet n Wild because of the mint colors we're going to use on the eyes. I kind of wanted something a little bit icier. So this is in the shade Highlight Bling, and it is the, obviously, highlight side of this duo. I have to say, for bang for your buck and quality of a product, if you're looking for a similar high-end, something that kind of performs high-end, you can't get any better than these Hello Halo duos by Wet n Wild. I want to say they're $4 or $5, and it comes with a blush and a highlight, and the highlight is absolutely blinding. The kind that you can be seen, like your neighbors will see you through the window, basically. But they're so easy to apply. On me, they don't emphasize my pores. Like, it just looks good. I look like a glazed donut, and I'm here for that. Now, I always highlight my nose. Sometimes every now and then someone will comment, please don't highlight your nose. I highlight my nose. Also doing the forehead. Now I did a little more than usual on the forehead, and that's because I was like, man, looking a little too bronzed, starting to not match my neck. So I wanted to lighten things up a little bit, and so that's why I'm going a little extra heavy. So let's move on to another e.l.f. product. This is the Putty Eye Primer. I love this thing. Now, when I could kind of set everything up for filming this video, forgot to bring over the brush that I used to apply it, so I thought, I'll just do it with my finger. But this does have a very putty consistency to where it kind of gets clumpy, so a brush is, a little dense brush, stumpy brush is the best way to go. Let's go in with one of these mint eyeshadow palettes. This is the Mint to Be palette. And I'm going to go in with that lighter matte shade. Now this one is, out of the two palettes, this is the one shade that is so super light that you have to go in with like 12 applications to get any kind of payoff. I'm not disappointed by it though, because I absolutely love every single other shade. So it's really up to you on how much you'd want to apply if you're even using this palette to, you know, do a look like this. If you do have this palette, you already know by this point that it takes a whole lot of building to get it up to any kind of, oh yeah, there's something on your, you know, in your crease on your brow. And using that same palette, I'm going to go in with that mossy green type of shade. I feel like, I don't know that this reminds me of mint. I think this reminds me of like, I don't know, like an Earl Grey tea or seaweed, or, so I guess, yeah, maybe green, but it's kind of a mossy green. Anywho, I'm going to go in, oh my goodness, always happens when I do my foundation first. I end up getting some extra product, extra shadow on a place where I don't want it. But anyways, I'm just placing this on the outer portion of the lid. We're going to do a halo eye, if you couldn't guess. We're doing a halo eye today, especially because for my TJ Maxx and Marshall's haul video, if you've already seen that one, I did not do a halo eye. And a lot of y'all had asked me, or had let me know that you really liked what was on my eyes. A couple of you asked. And it was actually this palette. So these are definitely something to look into if you are a fan of mint eyeshadows, and if you are on a budget, these little guys are really nice. So now we're going to go ahead and take it into the, well, I thought I was about to take it to the inner portion. I'm building it a couple of times just because I want it to be super deep, super intense. I'm using a smaller blending brush so it doesn't really get all over the place, even though that already happened. But now we're going to go ahead and take it into the inner portion of the lid just to create that halo eye. And I'm not super precise. I just kind of throw it on, you know, in the general vicinity of my inner and outer portion, because the middle, what we put in the middle, it's going to cover up any kind of messy, you know, it doesn't have to be super precise. And just like I did with the outer portion of the lid, I'm building this a couple of times. Again, I want there to be super intensity because I want that mint green shade in the middle to absolutely pop. So please forgive me, but there is one high-end product I had to use, and it is the Fenty Pro Filter Eye Primer. I needed a tacky base. And technically, I could get the NYX glitter glue. That one's kind of been on my radar, but I haven't purchased it yet. But I did need a tacky base, so I went in with a high-end product. I'm so sorry. It's the only one, I promise. But we're gonna go ahead and put a super pretty metallic mint shade in the middle, again, from that same palette. It's the second one in the group of four. It's the lighter of the two metallics. And I had an idea of what I was going to do because I had not used that shade before, and I thought, okay, it's probably going to be too light. I'm going to have to put like one of the deeper mint metallics kind of on top of that to let it stand out. And nope, this absolutely blew my socks off.
I'm gonna pull a Babs Beauty and take it up on my brow bone a little bit. I know when she does her halo eyes, that's what she does, and I really like that look. With no added product on that same blending brush, I'm just gonna kind of mesh the two together just so that they look a little bit more put together. So now going in, it's time to do the bottom lash line, lower lash line. Going in with that mossy shade and a little stumpy brush, I think this is like a BH Cosmetics brush. Just placing this on the outer portion of my lower lash line. If you're a contact lens user, I always tell you just be careful because it's very painful when you get a ton of kick up that goes in your eye. So obviously that happened to me just now. So placing this on the outer portion, not taking it across the entire lower lash line because we're going to place that same metallic shade also on the bottom, on the lower lash line. So with that same brush, I'm just grabbing a little bit of that lighter metallic mint shade and I'm going to place that on the inner to mid portion of the lower lash line, connecting the two really. And so it's just going to kind of tie it all together from what we have on the lid to now what we have on the lower lash line. Now, just for reference, I'm not going to do any liner on the waterline. Black would look so good with this, but I have found that using liner on my waterline and also tight lining, it gets on my contacts in a very gnarly way to where it's so uncomfortable to wear my contacts, and then it's very hard to rinse off. Let me know if you have that problem. Why do I get all the rando problems with makeup? Now I'm going to go into the other palette. So the other one is called Chocolate Mint, and I'm going into that champagne metallic shade. I'm going to place it on in the inner corner. This is really just to kind of change it up just a little bit because there's a lot of mint, a lot of green going on. This way we kind of neutralize it just a tinge. So going in with my Maybelline liner, this is my absolute favorite drugstore liner, and in fact, if I didn't own the Rare Beauty liner from Sephora, then this would still be my favorite liner. I can't remember the exact name. I forgot to pull it out with the goodies that I have here with me as I'm doing this voiceover, but I will list it in the description box below. I have done a video on this liner. It's so good. It's pigmented, it lasts forever, and if you have trouble with a wing, the tip on this is so nice that it practically does the wing for you. So we're not doing a wing today, but it just is such an easy liner to work with. I think it's like $8. So when you compare it to a high-end liner, it is totally worth the price. So let's move into mascara. We're going to use the L'Oreal Voluminous, nothing surprising here. This is what I have been using. I've been using drugstore mascara for, I don't know, 2 years now or so. It's what I used to use back in the day, and then I got absolutely hooked on the Marc Jacobs Velvet Noir. Don't get me wrong, that is still my favorite mascara, and one of these days I will be going back to it. But it's just one of those things where sometimes there's a beauty product you can't seem to pay the high price for. Like, you'll do it for an eyeshadow palette, you'll do it for a bronzer, a highlighter, but when it comes to certain products, you're like, nah, I'll just get it at the drugstore. And that's my sentiment about mascara, or at least it has been for the last couple years. I'm like, I could pay $7 for a mascara, or I could pay $27 for a mascara, or I could pay $7 for a mascara and put those $20 to something else at Sephora. So let's move into lips. I actually went off camera to do my eyelashes. This liner, you guys, I cannot even tell you how fast you need to go pick one of these up and try it for yourself. This is the Milani Understatement lip liner. I had bought two. This particular one is in the shade 110 Nude Entrance. The other one I got is like rose something or other, or dusty rose. Okay, I have found that I not only love these as a lip liner, I love these as a lipstick. These will give your lips the most beautiful look of life it's almost like it smooths over any lip wrinkle that you would have. It doesn't settle into lip lines, makes your lips look pouty, poofy, fuller, whatever you want to call it. But I have determined that I need each and every shade that exists in this line. I've never been this over the moon about a lip product, quite frankly, drugstore or high-end. And I want to say these are about $7 each. Maybe there's about 8 to 10 in the lineup. I can't remember. I got mine at Walmart. But you guys, these Milani Understatement lip liners are a must. They're a need in your life. Let me just, you'll thank me later. So really just lining my lips, and then I'm filling them in as I would with any other lip liner or lipstick. I'm not going to top it with any gloss or anything like that. I do want not the matte look, but I'm not looking for a glossy look. And these do give kind of a satin matte type of look. They're very moisturizing, very comfortable. And my friends, that brings us to the end of today's video. I will place the verse of the day here on the screen as my outro. I love each and every one of you. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I love talking and spending some time with you. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.